and welcome to my channel. If you're coming for the first time, I just want to welcome you here. This is part 2 of how to move abroad efficiently. I have given some pointers on the previous video where I shared all the things that you need to know while moving abroad. So this is a continuation. I did not want the video to be long, so I wanted to make sure that you get all the valuable information here. And so if you have not watched the first one, I think it would be beneficial for you to go watch. But you can also, if you want, to continue from here and then go back. I don't know, we learn differently, and I don't want to make the rules for you. So just as a quick admin thing, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Also, let's get this out of the way. My name is Hlulani. I feel like I am able to talk about this because I have since moved abroad at least 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. Currently live in Austria. So there's things that I've learned in the process, and beyond Austria I have lived in other parts of the world, so I have some sort of knowledge that I feel I can share with you if you are deciding to move abroad. So let's get straight to it. We were on number 6, so we are getting into number 6 of the points that you need to consider when moving abroad. And number six is language and cultural adaptation. So this is tricky for a lot of people because I think, this is my own hypothesis, in our adult age it's hard to learn a new language. I have been trying to learn German. It's been a little tricky, and the thing is, like, another thing for me is the fact that from my daily work I'm almost not required. I'm actually not required to know German, so this kind of slows down my learning, because also in my daily communication I don't get to communicate in German. So, but like in general, you want to be in a position where you at least understand the language. It makes life much easier to integrate. I know at this point that there are certain limitations as far as I'm concerned to actually be able to integrate. I'm not able to integrate fully into the culture. I'm not able to just fully integrate into how people do things in general. I understand quite a bit, but it's difficult when I don't know the language. I think I've already mentioned in the previous video, in the first part, that I am currently learning the language. It's a little slow, but I am learning. It is important to be in a position where you understand at least the basics of the language and you are able to just hear. And also, I think for the locals also, it's actually really exciting to see someone trying. I think trying someone's language is just saying that I see you somehow, because at the end of the day, you are the one who is moving into their culture. So it's almost uncomfortable for them to try to accommodate you. But I see it happening in most cases. I see it in many social situations that people are actually speaking English because I am there. If I was not in that kind of social setting, they would not need to speak English. And that kind of I think that needs to have some sort of an ending, or some sort of a cap of a period. I am guilty of that. I know I have not really moved fast as far as learning the language is concerned, but we're getting there. So I highly advise, for the sake of integrating, for the sake of adapting to the language, for the sake of knowing the locals and really mingling with the locals, you want to be in a position where you understand the language that they're speaking. If you're moving into an English speaking country, then yes. If you're moving to Afrikaans, for some of you who actually know Afrikaans speaking, which I guess it's only the Netherlands, maybe great for you, good for you. But if you're moving to other countries that actually speak another language that is not your own, you want to try and integrate into that space and learn their language. It is, I think, important for your own sake, for integrating. So yeah, I think just learn the language and adapt, and try to get to know few things about them, try to get to know some stuff about the culture in general. The seventh thing that I would want to just like at this point emphasize, I've touched on a little bit, but that was just like as an example, is finding accommodation. Sounds easy, but hey, you want to be in a position where you do finding accommodation, I guess, the right way or the efficient way. So you want to check for real estates. Most of them, if you go online and find like the online apps, I gave an example with Pt.2, just make sure that you know how much the average range of like accommodation in the space that you're moving in is, and also what are the amenities, what are the things that you need to be looking out for. I've mentioned this already previously, but more than anything, you want to be in a position where you know the surrounding of the place. Is it safe? Do you have access to local transport? How easy is it for you? Is grocery shopping, like for me, when I moved to a place here in Austria, the most important thing would be the surrounding, the neighborhood, local shopping in that place, a bathtub. I don't know, it's actually even hard. It's actually I've learned that it's a little tricky to find an accommodation that has a bathtub, at least in Vienna. I don't know what's the story there, but like, does the place have a bathtub? Because like for me, that kind of Sunday relaxation on a bathtub, Sundays for lovers, whatever, and I'm loving on myself on a bathtub is very important. And you want to consider such things, right? You want to be in a position where you know that this is something that the accommodation offers. So another thing that you would need to consider maybe is integrating with like the meetup communities, or where people, or rather experts, meet, right? And not a paid promo. You have places like Couchsurfing, you have places like Internations, where you can get like to mingle with the experts or even the locals who are actually just really into like integration with like the expert community. And that way, you know for sure they will give you advice. They will give you advice because chances are they have lived in the country for long and they know how to actually like navigate that space. Another one is meetup.com. You want to just like meet up with people there and be in a position where you get advice on things. Get advice on finding accommodation. What neighborhood do they think is good for you? What neighborhood is the best for raising kids? If you're working, or if you're coming in and you have kids, what neighborhood has like a preschool close by, or rather kindergarten, for those of you who call preschools kindergartens? I don't think it matters as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, you want to consider all those things. If you are with kids who are at a school age, is it closer to like school? If it's not, what's the easiest way to reach that point or go to that school? Is it safe for children? Like all those kind of stuff. Is it safe for yourself? Is it safe for women? Just consider all those things and make sure that they are covered thoroughly before you move. The eighth point is you want to consider, and rather you want to manage your belongings. A lot of people, if you've lived in one place for long, it happens naturally. You end up collecting a lot of things, and only when you're about to move do you realize that I have a lot of stuff and I don't know what to do with these things. So you want to be in a position where you figure out what at this point in my move, what do I need to do? What do I want to do with all the belongings I have? Do I sell them? Do I give them away? Do I put them in a storage somewhere? And this is, I guess, again, when you are renting out your apartment, or if you are selling your house, or if you like all those kind of stuff, you definitely will still have a lot of belongings that belong to you. And this is also determined by whether or not your move is temporary, or like it's a very short period of time, or a longer one, or just like infinite, whatever. You want to be in a position where you decide what you want to do with your belongings. Selling them, Facebook Marketplace, or any other platform that actually takes secondhand stuff and resell them and stuff like that. Also, if you want to take some of the things with you, figure out how you are actually gonna handle the shipping costs and everything, and just research around the ways of shipping, on how to go about shipping stuff from one country to the next, and how does that look like for you. So having that information in mind, you will be in a position where you efficiently move and you are covered in your move. In my case, I did not have to ship anything. I actually lived at home. So yeah, I lived at home until my move. So mine was a little easy because I just only needed to pack my bags, clothing and stuff, and I had decided that anything else that I will need when I arrive here, I would have to figure out here. So it was really like a gradual collection of stuff over time. It was not like, hey, I need everything right now. I got the stuff that I really, really needed, because honestly, there was no pressure to actually just go crazy and find everything that I need so fast. So I used that and it worked for me. So find what works for you. The 9th point is healthcare and insurance. So I have recently just previously mentioned that healthcare and insurance is something that you would want to consider, but just breaking this down in detail, you want to be in a position where you know the rules around health insurance. How does that look like for you? For example, when I moved here in Austria, one thing that I needed for at least a month was a travel insurance. I had to pay for that from a travel insurance in South Africa, because I was only gonna be covered in the in the health insurance here only when I started working. So I wouldn't be in a position to be covered until I started working. So I needed to plan beforehand and make sure that should anything happen to me, I am covered insurance wise. So you wanna consider that. You wanna really, really research about the place that you're going. Another thing is, like, from a health point of view again, you want to know that you have necessary vaccination. I know, for example, if you are moving to most parts of East Africa, you definitely need a yellow fever card. It's not all of them, but you can do your research and figure out which one makes sense for you, or rather which one needs you to actually have like a vaccination of some sort. I know like India has like just multiple vaccinations that even when you're traveling you have them. There's other countries that when you are going to them, you want to be in a position to have some sort of vaccination. We previously had COVID. I don't know if there's any country that still requires COVID at this point, but you want to search for that. You want to search for the fact that do they require you to have vaccination of some sort before you actually move into their country or travel into that place in general. So having that information beforehand will catch you the stress when you actually just get surprised. Like surprise, you get to customs and they're like, we will not let you in. That time you have uprooted your life, you have done everything is in place, you have all the paperwork in place, but you don't have the vaccination. That's painful. That will be painful. You don't want to find yourself there. So do your research around those kind of stuff. The 10th point is that you want to be in a position where you notify all the relevant parties that would be affected by your move. And in this case, I'm talking the employer. Obviously, you would need to unless you're moving into another country and still considering to work remotely, you want to be in a position where you resign. Sounds easy, but hey, just putting it out there. Also, you want to be in a position where your bank knows that you're moving. So the local bank knows that you're moving. My bank in South Africa, for example, I had to alert them and let them know that I'm going to be in another country. And what this helped me with is the fact that the country wouldn't be in a position to, the bank would not be in a position to actually consider my transactions fraudulent, because it's suspicious transactions. They've never seen you transact or make transactions in another country. So when they see that happening, they think something is wrong and they close your account. And imagine being in another country with your bank closed, and chances are you're not roaming. And when you're not roaming, you are not in a position to call your bank. I think with my bank, maybe it is easy because they have like a chat bot which is efficient, and you are able to actually like chat with an agent within the bank. But this is not a reality for a lot of banks. So you want to be in a position where you let them know, tell them the country that you're going to, let them know that you are going to be away and you are still going to do banking. That way you don't run into trouble. You don't run into some unnecessary stress at the end of the day. So consider that. Make sure you are covered. Make sure your bank knows. Make sure anyone who needs to know knows about your move. And tell your friends, tell your family, or rather extended family if you want, and just let them know. It's nice to actually just like, hey, I'm gonna be away. I'm going. Goodbye. Say some goodbyes. Go hug some people. Let them know that you are moving to another country. And if possible, you want to close some financial obligations that you have in the country that you are in, so settling some debts and everything. I know there is some of the debts that are not easy to just close right away, like in my case, I do have like a house or something. That is something that I wouldn't be in a position to just settle. So because of that, that is something that is still occurring to this date. But like you wanna just settle some of the things. If you need to close some subscriptions that are very South African based, close that beforehand. Make sure that you have a list of all your subscription, close them. Cut ties with anything that you need to cut ties with, just to have some ease when you are away, when you are living in another country. You will start life afresh where you are, and it's nice, So yeah, just do it. Just close anything that needs to close. Any financial obligation that you can close, just make sure you close it and live your best life. And I wish you all the best. The 11th and almost last point is moving logistics. So I have mentioned just in brief that you want to consider this part. You want to consider logistics. Be in a position where you know what form of transport are you going to use. If I was moving to Zimbabwe, for example, there's a point to actually use public transportation. I can use a bus, I can use whatever. So you want to be in a position to know what is your form of moving, and also, do you know who is gonna transport your stuff? Are you gonna use like some ship to ship your stuff to another country? How much can you take into the flight? How does that look like? Paying for extra luggage, how much is that? How does it look like? You want to just generally look at all those kind of stuff and plan ahead, plan thoroughly your move. The 12th and final point is settle your admin matters. So every admin stuff, you want to be in a position where that is settled as soon as you land. So now you have considered all those things, and you have now packed your bags, you found your flights, you have sold everything that you needed to sell, and now you arrive in your new country. Congratulations, you have made it. Good for you. There's just adventure ahead of you. Now what is next? You want to be in a position where you figure out some admin work. You need to inform the local authorities. So for example, in my case, as soon as I got in, I had to right away go to let the magistrate know that I live in the location that I was living in, so that I would be registered with the local authorities. I had to open a bank account right away. I had to get a SIM card for communication purposes. I had to get a transport ticket. So I think I've spoken in another video how efficient I find transport in Austria, or rather in Vienna to be specific. And in that case, like just generally getting a ticket that gets me using a tram, train, and a bus. In a way, I needed to get that figured out. I needed to be in a position where I get that ticket and everything. So knowing that beforehand and knowing what you would need to do beforehand will save you the stress, because like I think the space would be less overwhelming when you arrive. There's a lot of things that can overwhelm you when you first arrive into a new place, and you want to just avoid a bit of those stuff by just being prepared in time. And I guess this was the last one. If you've watched this video until the very end, maybe you are considering moving, or maybe you're just fascinated by the topic. Whatever the reason you decided to stay this long, firstly I want to say congratulations to you, because you could stay and listen. Second of all, if you were watching this because you are considering your move, I am wishing you all the best, and I hope life's good for you on the other side, wherever the other side is. And I just want to put up a disclaimer with just the whole idea of moving in general, because I think for a lot of people there's an element, or there's a very much of a negative connotation that comes with, oh, you are like just moving and running away from problems, and people actually assume that when you move into another country, your reason for moving is that you are actually running away from issues in your country. And that's not reality for a lot of people. People just wanna like be adventurous and also experience different parts of the world. And I'm part of those people. I'm part of the people who actually just love the thrill around experiencing what the other side have. And also just generally, it's, at least from a South African point of view, unemployment has gotten really, really high. And if you do have an option and you can, which is a privilege that not everybody can afford, but if you can, why not? Just do it. I definitely do recommend moving. I do recommend trying out other parts of the world. If it does not work out, you are welcome to also still go back home, because it is your home in the first place. So you will never be in a position where moving into any other place restrict you from going back to your home. Besides, it's literally just that. So I do recommend moving. I do recommend trying out different parts of the world and figuring out how it's like and how it's like for you. And generally, I wish you all the best. I hope you enjoy your move. If you have moved or you've considered moving based on this, because of this video, tell me in a few years when you have moved, and let's actually like just celebrate you and tell us how it looks like. If you have moved and then you have other pointers that you think I have left in this video that you think is important based on your experience, please comment below and let me know. And just generally, if you watch this video and you have some views about it, comment below and let me know. whatever it is, I'm always open to feedback. I'm always open to learning from other people and how other people see their life and see their move and see how living in another country is like for them. So yeah, I love you guys, and thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for staying this long in this video. Love you.